Greetings viewers, I'm EricTheCarGuy, and thank you for tuning in today. Today, I'm going to do a little work on the Type R, and this is something I've done on other vehicles, and that is repair the wiper transmission. I'm also going to put a set of original equipment wiper blades on it, as well as recondition the wiper arms and repaint them and put them on, just to, make it all nice. I'm also going to do the one in the rear. It's not that difficult to do. The information not only applies to this Type R, but also Integras of the same vintage, as well as Civics. In fact, a lot of Hondas suffer from this. Mostly because, like say in the wintertime, your wiper blades are frozen to the windshield and you might want to turn them on. And sometimes this accelerates the breakage, although this is kind of a common problem, so it may have been nothing at all other than it wore out. Anyway, I'm going to show you how to fix it today. Check it out. No matter what your symptoms, the quickest way to diagnose this issue is just to grab the wiper arm, and if you can move it at all, you have a problem with the wiper transmission down inside. Another symptom that you may notice besides them being loose, as I showed you, is they may not come fully to rest down at the bottom of the windshield, but also they may come in contact with a cowl up here. You may hear them smacking up along this area during operation. Here are the parts I'll be using. These are the arms for the wiper transmission. I'm not exactly sure which one is broken, but here's part numbers for both of them. Also, I have 3 new wiper blades from Honda here. Now, I like going with these because all I have to do after this point is swap out the rubber inserts. So it's something you might consider, or use whatever wiper blades you like. But here are the part numbers. This is the passenger side, I believe. This is the driver's side, and this is the rear wiper. I'm going to start by opening the hood. Going to start by removing the wiper arms. They're held on by 14mm fasteners here and here. To remove the wiper arms, they may not pull right off. Just push on the joint and it'll work itself loose. And you can just pull it right on up off. It's going to take a little bit of time for to perform the rest of the repair. So I'm going to get started on reconditioning these wiper arms now. That way I can have my paint and everything sorted by the time I'm done. I'm pretty happy with that. Blow that off with some compressed air, maybe soak it in a little solvent. That's the cleanest I've ever seen one of these. And 95% of painting is surface preparation, and this is a good start. I'd say these guys are ready for some paint. I wasn't too concerned about down in here. I mean, that'll get painted over and rarely seen. What mostly will be seen is this, and I really like how this turned out. So I'm going to do one final wipe down with this and get a coat of paint on this while we finish up the rest of the work. Some might ask what I'm doing with these retaining nuts, and I'm not going to do anything with them for now. I believe these wipers will be on and off a couple of times before this restoration is complete, and I don't see the point of doing this until I'm ready for final assembly. For now, I'm just going to leave them how they are. They look fine. As for the paint I'll be using, I'm going to use this VHT chassis roll bar paint. I'm using it mainly because I have some. I've also used it on other projects and I've found it to work quite well. It doesn't require a primer. It's also a dull finish. I don't want these to be shiny. I want these to have somewhat matte finish, and this fits the bill. Let that set up for a bit, put another coat on, and I'll flip them. Next, I'm going to need to remove this plastic cowl assembly that was under the wiper arms. I'll need to remove these plastic covers here, and I'll show you how to get those out. Also, there is this rubber seal that has these clips under here also that are going to need to be removed. I find personally that with these clips, coming underneath with a pair of angle pliers like this and sort of pinching them together helps them release a little bit easier. I really want to avoid breaking any clips because parts are getting harder and harder to find for these cars. I'm going to use a pocket screwdriver to remove these clips. The middle portion which stayed in there was supposed to come out with this. It did not. Looks like I'll be buying some clips. Yep. These are just too old. When they break, just push the centers down inside and you can pull the rest out. Now that one came out like it's supposed to. So it's already been broken once, but it pulls up out of the center like that. And that's what, well, a mostly complete clip would look like, or how it's supposed to look. But being black and being exposed to the elements over time, these get really weak. So I'll put a link in the description to this part number to make it easy for you to find. With all of your clips and everything released, it should lift up out of here. You got to be careful around where it goes underneath the windshield on both sides. Also, there are windshield washer squirters in this, so there's a hose attached. So you don't necessarily want to remove it entirely. I just take them, lift them up, and put them in the engine compartment, but I'm sure to lift up on the center so that I can negotiate around the hood. And this is old brittle plastic. So be careful. Yeah, once you get one side out, you're home free. I highly recommend not messing with the squirter hose unless you absolutely have to. You might find yourself with a broken hose. So everything I just showed you also works if you need to replace a wiper motor. Anyway, it is held in by, I believe, four. 1, 2, 3, 4 fasteners hold this entire assembly in place. And this is its electrical connector. And once you remove those fasteners, you can take the whole assembly out. One thing to note when removing the plastic cowl assembly is there are these plastic boots over the top. You don't want to lose them, so I'm just going to remove mine now. Now that the assembly's out, you can see a little more clearly what I was compressing with my pliers. So I was going in and compressing that little clip there to make it easier to remove. Just with the pliers, just squeezing it together. With the fasteners removed and it unplugged, it should come out. Once you've gotten this far, you're pretty much home free. Let's see if we can find the damaged one. There it is. See that movement? That's where the movement was coming from. So these little plastic end pieces break, and not knowing which one breaks, well, I got both of these rods. If you wanted to be frugal about this, you could take it apart first, find out which one's broken, order the part, and then you would have it. But to get these off, it's just you just pry up on it with a screwdriver. And they should. It's a ball and socket joint, so it should just come apart just like that. And I caught it, believe it or not. The other side pulls off just like that. So there's rubber shielding. Make sure that stays in place. And there's also some lubricant here. I've never replaced the lubricant because the new part comes with lubricant, and now I'm matching up the new part here. Yeah, so one's longer than the other. It's clear that this one goes here. And like I said, there's lubricant down inside here. So I'll just take my rag, wipe off some of the old lubricant, and install the new part. Now you may have some difficulty doing this, and really it's just a matter of pushing it back down into place. But if you're having some trouble, you can take a pair of, I use channel locks, and be careful, this is plastic, but just gently squeeze it into place. Once it locks down, it's not going anywhere from there. And just for good measure, and because I've already bought the parts, I'm going to replace this one, and also remember I have a GSR of the same vintage. So in case one goes bad, I can have another one on hand, but I'll put the new ones on the R here. But I'm just, same as before, just gonna pop this off. Probably mark that as Integra or something. It's always a good idea to match up the parts just to be sure. Done. Your wipers won't flop around anymore. If you needed to replace the motor, remove this fastener, keep an eye on where it was clocked, and then these 3 10mm fasteners, and you can replace the motor assembly. One last thing, and I've been asked this before, can you get just these little plastic bits? To my knowledge, you can't, but these aren't that expensive. I think these were like maybe 12 bucks a piece. It doesn't seem too bad considering the result that you get. So I don't believe that these are available separately, but you can always find these parts in salvage. Heck, just pull the whole motor assembly and everything if it's tight, and keep it around for later when you need it. Just an FYI, once you get that plastic cowl piece off, you have a really good view down into the fresh air inlet of the HVAC assembly. You're looking at the top of the blower motor assembly here. A couple of leaves down in there, and that can cause noise. So while I'm in here, I'm going to reach down in there with a pair of pliers and possibly a shop vac, get rid of that debris. I'm here. And by the way, you will only see it looking like this, I believe, if you have it on fresh air. If you have it on recirculate, I believe this might be blocked off. You're kind of going just the opposite of the way you did when you removed it before you put the cowl back in. Don't forget your little plastic covers that go over the wiper arm mounts. So when this goes back in, just take your time. It's very awkward, and mostly around where the hinges are for the hood. So just take your time. And lift up in the middle to get it to pass under. When you're done, should look something like that. And then line up and redo the clips here. I need to order up some new clips and finish my painting. We'll jump back when I do. Good news. The clips have arrived, and that is the part number for them, and I'll put that down in the description to make it easy for you to find. I ordered 14 of these, although there is only 7 that are required to put this on the windshield. If I ever have to replace a windshield or something, it's good to have these in stock. And something else I just thought of, if you spray these with a little WD-40 before you go to pry them out, that may help make it so that you don't break them. but I would be prepared to have some of these if you are going to attempt this job. One last note, when you take these out, they should look like this. And then when you push them in, they lock into place. Now it should go together easy. You might have to move it around a little bit till it seats in, but just line it up before you push down so that it's fully seated before you lock it into place. I am super impressed with how well these wiper arms turned out. I've never had them turn out any better. I say sandblasting is definitely the way to go. By the way, the long one is the driver's side and the short one is the passenger side. And lastly, before I reinstall the wiper arms, I'm going to install the new wiper blades. This is the part number for the passenger side, and this is the part number for the driver's side. And once you have these, I believe I've mentioned, all you're going to need to do from here on out is just replace the rubber inserts. And in case you're wondering, these are what the wiper inserts look like. They come packaged individually. But this will be the driver's side part number. And this, I believe, is the passenger side part number. I also got some for the rear, and one is smaller than the other. So I'll put all three in the description for you. They just clip in like that. And then just try and position them so that they're below the line of sight, but not hitting the cowl. Once they're in position, you can tighten them down. I could not be happier with this result. Sandblasting is the way to go with these wiper arms. They look brand new, but more importantly, there's no more movement. And they won't come up and smack the A-pillar or anything anymore if that's what they were doing. So, job done. This rear one turned out real nice too. Now that everything's back together and into position, I'm going to turn the wipers on just to see how they operate and if they return to position like they're supposed to. And everything works like it should. Because everything worked out so well, I also did the wipers on the GSR. They needed it too. It's not a difficult job, but it is kind of fiddly when you get to those little plastic clips in particular. Like I said, a little bit of WD-40 can go a long way to help you not break them. Or you can check the description. I'll link those parts down there and you can order some up. They're not that expensive. In fact, I'll link all the parts and everything down in the description that I use to make them easy for you to find. Remember, this doesn't just work on Integras, this works on Civics, and many other Hondas have had this problem. So if you have an issue with the wipers on your Honda, this may be helpful. But we did this one to the Type R because, you know, it's cool, right? As I said, links in the description of stuff, so please check there. If you have automotive questions not covered in this video, I ask that you head to EricTheCarGuy.com, also linked in the description. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the video with the world. Appreciate it when you do that stuff. I really, really do. Be safe, have fun, stay dirty. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you next time.